All right. And Sharon, I'm going to make you co-host. I just remembered to do that. Excellent. Well, welcome. It sounds like the weather is warming up in your areas, and I feel like the market might be warming up in all of our areas. So let's get started with shout outs to wake ourselves up. Some of us woke up, 3 hours ago, 5 hours ago, and some people woke up maybe 15 minutes ago. No judgment wherever you are on that spectrum. But let's get started with some shout outs. Just go down to your little reaction button and click raise your hand. Who is it that you want to shout out? Who is awesome on your teams? Who is awesome in your organization? Maybe somewhere in Texas. Michael, yes, sir.
Good morning. This morning, I want to give like 2.5 shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Kayla Butler. She is one of our newer agents. She's been on the team for a year, I believe, and she's gotten to the point where she qualified for a showing assistant, and she's gotten, I believe, 6 or 7 pinned with for the next month with the showing assistant. And then Myrna Cruz, she's also a newer agent. But she's pinned 7 transactions within the last 8 days.
Wow, ladies. Wow. What is going on over there in Midland? That's amazing, Michael. Amazing. Thank you for that shout out. We would have never known these ladies are crushing it because you wouldn't give yourself shout outs, right? I mean, like maybe you would. High five, more power to you if you give yourself shout outs. But man, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. Michael, thank you for sharing that. Katie, good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to shout out to Jackie on the Davis team and a couple other people who went ahead and did open houses in the cold weather and actually had like a surprisingly huge turnout at their open houses. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of a bump because they were awesome for getting out there.
That's right. That's right. The activities didn't stop, and it is awesome to see. And man, with so many people moving to our areas, guys, like people are at open houses, and I am so glad to hear that. Thanks for the shout out, Katie. That's awesome. Helen, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I wanted to shout out Miss Brooklyn. I call her Queen B. She's new to the Grimion group here in Houston, and she's just so awesome. She lives an hour away from our office, and she comes into the office all the time just because she feels like she's more productive working, at the office, and we love it because we get to see her. And so I just love that she chooses to inconvenience herself to grow her business.
Oh, I love that. That's just such a great shout out. Thank you for always being willing to shout out your partners in crime over there. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And I think I missed a shout out a couple weeks ago. Did our friend in DFW, did somebody get engaged over the holidays? Yes, no, yes. Does that sound like Allie? I know a lot of you guys know Allie, and she always contributes to our calls, and it sounds like she got a little engaged, and that was I forgot to give her that shout out. I always want to give a shout out to 2 more people, Elizabeth Gassos and Jordan Davis, our fellow Keller Williams Young Professionals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into chat this link for you guys to vote for them. They were recognized as candidates for Empire Builder of the Year and Young Professional of the Year. And guys, it would be so awesome if one of our place people were the ones who took home the glory. We already know they're awesome. We would just love for the rest of the world to know how awesome they are. So if you click that link, you will be able, just click it and maybe save it for later. So I just want to make sure that you guys are voting for Miss Elizabeth, who is our Young Professional of the Year, and Miss Jordan, who's our Empire Builder of the Year for Keller Williams Young Professionals. The rest of the people, I have no idea who they are. Pick and choose whoever you want. But Elizabeth and Jordan, it would be awesome if they took it home. And we do need, this is all voting, right? So like, we do need your votes. All right. And we have some birthdays, right? I see that it was Elizabeth Gass's birthday. So of course you have to vote for her now. That would be so awkward if you didn't. DJ has a birthday this week as well. Man, lots and lots of birthdays. Let me see, did I miss anybody else? I hope not. But either way, good stuff, you guys. I hope you are hyped up and excited, all 93 of you, because this morning, because we know the market is heating up. Whose market's heating up? Or is it completely dead? Is anybody's market completely dead and you're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're in the wrong state. Okay, all right, that's what I thought. What happens in a really hot market? I've been around a long time, and what happens is it's so easy to get sucked into doing nothing but servicing your clients, because it feels like do or die, like you got to do that, right? And so today I thought about making sure that we had the confidence, number one, number two, the skill set to handle something really important, which is called your leads, right? Because your leads, if you stop working them when you're busy, you will stop having business the second you close those deals, right? And it's happened to all of us, and we're like, oh. So here's what's going to happen the next few weeks. So our next few weeks of lineup is going to be leads, listings, leverage, and profit, like in that order, right? So today is leads, and here's why. If I pulled up my agents in Austin and Brivity, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but if I pulled up any of our Brivities, right, it could get a little scary, right? I thought it would be really great to have an open dialogue this morning on how we should respond to leads when they come in, or how to move them forward. So I have notes being transcribed right this second. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you like some prompts. Like I'll give you an example and I'll say, okay, you get a Brivity buyer lead that comes in. It's a fresh new lead, never spoke to this person ever before. What does that initial call sound like? And if you feel like you have a good intro to that call, like just click the little button in the reactions and raise your hand and I'll call on you, so that all of us can get the collective power of the entire Texas region. If you've got something good, great. If yours is kind of sucky, probably don't raise your hand, right? Either way, the goal is that you add some good scripts to your tool belt, right? And we've got 8 of these that we'll go through. This call will be as sucky or as powerful as you allow it, right? There's like no middle ground. If you like share, it's gonna be an awesome call. If you don't share, probably gonna be an awesome call. We'll be off in like about 5 minutes, right? So let's talk about the first one. You get a buyer lead from Brivity, right? And it's a brand new lead. It's like the first 2 seconds of it. What does that initial call sound like when you call them? All at once. Helen, yes, what does that call sound like for you?
So I started off with the wording of the first text message from our 10 days of pain auto plan. That's how I start the call because I don't know what else to say. So I just say, I introduce myself. I'm with the Grimion Group, and I noticed that they registered on our website. And so then I go into, I see it, and then, I'm sorry, let me back up. I see that it comes in, like we get the text notification, and then I go into Brivity, and I wait a few minutes so that they can, Tracy, says latest touch, so you can see like what houses they look at. So that way, when you reach out and you introduce yourself, you can say, I saw that you were looking at homes in, Cinco Ranch and Avalon and Nottingham. And so I wanted to reach out. I say, I want to reach out and see how I can help. And then they let me know what they want. And then I go into LP Mama.
Excellent, excellent. So you wait a few seconds to see what they're looking at, and then you offer your help for that specific area. Anybody do something different? Anybody do something different? Just raise your hand. A brand new lead comes in. Do you guys not work your leads? Is that what's happening? Uh-oh, that might be our first problem, right? Or do you guys not get Brivity leads? That could be it. Katie, what do you do when a brand new lead comes in? It's a Brivity buyer lead.
As soon as it comes in, I try to take immediate action, no lag, because they're obviously in there because they were either just looking or they were, they just reached out to Valencia. So I reach out and I just say, I introduce myself, just like the last lady said, and I just say, yeah, it's me with the Davis team. I'm calling to introduce myself and figure out what your real estate goals are for this year so that I can help you achieve them. And I'm just kind of figure out where you're at in the process. And if they immediately are like, what, who is this? I don't know what this is. And I say, well, I got your information because you inquired about, some real estate around the area that I live and I work in. And then I just immediately start going for the appointment. Just try to get that face-to-face. I learned that at the Davis team. You really want to try to strive to get to that face-to-face appointment. What has you looking, asking all those questions, just kind of diving into what their motivation is, and then try to nail it down a time that they can meet up so I can talk them through what they need to do to actually get into a house.
I love that. No lag time, guys. And using the words, I live and work in this area, that makes you, it sounds like you're a neighbor. It doesn't sound like you're just the realtor, right? Trying to hammer them like a car salesman, right? I love that. Okay. Nobody does anything different? Jennifer, I hear you. I see you. You're going to say it out loud. If you can.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so usually the reply is, I'm just browsing or I'm being nosy. And my response is, I get that. Usually, most people like browsing homes. I like peeking into other people's homes and seeing kind of what's available. But that also means you're dreaming or thinking about purchasing a home in the near future. I know you're not ready right now. Most people aren't, and that's totally fine. So usually when my clients say they're just browsing, it's typically because they're working on building their credit score or they're working on saving more money for their down payment. Do either of those situations describe your current circumstance? And then take it from there. Usually those, you want to get them talking and confiding in you, looking at you like you're the professional and not a salesperson, and that you want to help them. And so either they'll say, yes, I'm working on my credit score, or I actually, yes, I have, you can tell when people have heard false information, like they're working on saving 20%. You're like, where did you hear that from? Did you know that we have down payment assistance programs that you could possibly qualify for? And then just giving them, coming from a place of contribution, giving them proper knowledge versus going against, what their parents once did when they bought a house 20 years ago, and building rapport.
I love that. I love that. That's such an appropriate way to go about the just browsing. I'm just looking. Right on. Amin, yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, usually what I do, I try to connect with them first 30 seconds, and then I position myself, introduce what we do for a living. And third thing, I analyze what their needs are and what they are for looking. And third is like leverage, what I'm going to deliver to them.
Got it. Got it.
That's how we close the deal on the leads.
Got it. Got it. Welcome to the company. I mean, very
Thank
nice.
you.
Good to see you. Bart, anything new?
We typically lead with motivation. If we're just browsing, okay, I understand. What even has you looking for a home? Whatever the reason is, awesome. What would that do for you, or what would that do for your family if you were able to, and then repeat back what their motivation is. We want to hang out in motivation for a little while to even figure out why we on the phone.
Love it. Love it. Right on. Brad Wagner, BKT, Dallas. I don't think I've talked to you before. What do you say?
Yeah, it's my first time piping up on the Texas Power Up. Well, so when I bought my first home, which I'm currently in, still, my motivation was my rent. My landlord went up on my rent, and I was like, oh, goodness, I can't just keep doing this. So I usually try and dig that out of people. I'm like, well, what do you pay per month in rent? And on average, it's about $1,800. So I'm like, oh my goodness, that's about $21,000 that you're handing over to your landlord every year. Have you ever thought about maybe keeping some of that money for yourself by, maybe looking for a property to kind of build your own personal wealth and kind of keep some of your money? And then I can keep going back to that. Every time they get cold feet, I'll be like, you really still want to keep paying that $21,000 every year or more?
Making it real. I like that, Brad. That's a great way to go about it. Right on. Memo, yes, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, so just going back to when a Brivity lead comes in, typically they would have been looking at a specific address on the website, and we're able to see that. So honestly, for me, that call is like, I kind of act like a glorified door opener. Like I just, hey, Adelina, I noticed you were looking at 317 McCoy. Do you have any specific questions on that listing that I can help answer? And then go into that, answer any questions, and then would you like to set up a showing to go see it today? And try to set up that appointment that way. And then face to face, I go into LP Mama.
I love that. Right on. Love it. Thank you, Memo. Valencia, what you got?
When a lead comes in, I'll call and say, hey, Adelina, it's Valencia with the Davis team. Thank you so much for registering on our site. What has you looking at homes in Mansfield? And then from there, I'll dive into their motivation. The only difference I have in that, initial phone call is gratitude. I want to start the conversation, the introduction with gratitude, because they took the time to dive into our site, to put in all their information. And I want to show my appreciation for them for doing just that. And then diving into what's important to them about looking at homes.
I love that. And I feel like, doesn't gratitude just set the tone for everything? Oh, good stuff. You guys are awesome. Okay, let me give you the next one. Some of you guys may be familiar with this. Some of this might be new to you. You get a quickly lead off of one of your listings, right? You don't know if it's a buyer or seller yet. The quickly lead comes in. What does your initial call sound like? Quickly lead, right? Quickly lead. And I'll wait for people to think about that. Quickly lead. And if you're not putting your quickly signs out there, you're missing out on leads. It sounds
Hey,
like,
Adelina.
Yeah, Casey, go.
Hey, thanks for reaching out about my listing at 123 Main Street. Typically, when people are looking for more information, they're either a buyer who's looking to purchase in the neighborhood, or they're a neighbor who's curious what their home is worth. Which one are you?
Okay, did everybody get that? This is for a quickly lead that you have put out a quickly sign next to your listing. Thanks for calling in on my listing. Typically when people do that, It sounds a lot like the open house one, Casey. My goodness, Ben would be so proud. Anything else? Anything else? Quickly leads. Anybody do anything different? Okay. Bart, can you tell everybody what a quickly lead is? You can't put anything in chat and me not see it.
Valencia and I are chatting through the wall, and I don't get them. They don't come to me. All our stuff goes through Valencia, so I'm not a great person to ask either. But everybody is saying no because they run through a different system. So Valencia is the better person to answer that question.
Well, Valencia, tell us what a quickly lead is. It is better heard from you than me.
A quickly lead is spelled KWLY. Bart doesn't even know how to spell it. And it is a sign writer that goes in the yard of your house. And it's like, text this random number for more information. So someone can grab their phone, text the random number for more information about the property. When it comes into your system, you can see Bart Cook reached out about this property. And most of the time, it doesn't even give you their name or even their email address. All you see is a phone number and the property that they text you about.
And here's what I want you guys to hear with that. Like in the Austin area, last month, we had 32 leads from our listings that were quickly leads, right? So definitely maybe perhaps if you are not using a quickly text, sign next to your yard sign. It's just another way, guys, to get people to text in or call in on your listing. Brandon, yes, sir.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, we're also using Quickly at a pretty high level for open houses too. So we're borrowing that listing and getting those text leads. But when I get Quickly leads on either open house leads or listings, it's basically LP Mama. And so I try to call immediately. Hey, Adelina, I saw you requested some information on our listing at 123 Main Street. Is that the specific area you're looking in, or are you open to other areas as well? And then I just go right into LP Mama, same thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. And thank you for bringing that up. Those Quickly signs can be used for open houses, because open houses, you guys, just change your mindset around them. You are renting that listing for that day, for that weekend. If you don't have a listing, what a great opportunity to rent a listing, right? Jen, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I take a little bit more of a fun, casual approach. I'm usually like, hey, Adelina, it's Jen. How's it going? By any chance, are you in front of 123 Main Street at the moment? You are. What is it about that home that kind of has you in that area? Is it school that's keeping you there, family? And kind of just go into that way. I find that when I say who I am and who I'm calling from, like it's Jen with KW or Ben Kinney team, I get more hangups that way because they're just like, I'm not interested, or so I kind of assume that they know who I am. So I address them personally. Hey, Adelina, it's Jen. Like they should know who I am. And they're like, who is Jen? Who? You know, and then you can go into who you're with and that you're calling, you know, that actually the Quickly sign and the texting does work and you're talking to a real person.
I love that. You're talking to a real person. Excellent. Excellent. Let's switch gears. You get a Brivity. Oh, yes, Brandon.
Hey, real quick, there was a question in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have to assign Quickly signs to addresses, or does it go GeoMap? So what happens usually when they text that keyword, Quickly will text them back like what address, right? And so they put in an address. But the other thing is on the back end, Quickly is connected to the MLS, and so if it'll GeoMap the closest listing. But what's important there, regardless, in my opinion, is that you have someone's cell phone number that reached out directly and raised their hand about real estate that's active in the market. And on the back end, for those who's like operations, you could see geo-mapped where that person was at if their locations is on their phone, which is kind of creepy, on a map. And so to Jen's point, if we know that, right, however your team has this designed, and I use this in listing presentations to tell them about Quickly, like, if they're still in the neighborhood, Adelina, what we're going to do is figure out which agent on my team is closest to that place. And if we know they're still close by, we'll say, hey, Adelina, are you still in the area? Yeah, that's actually my listing. I can show it to you right now. And it just increases conversion, right? So just a little trick there for listing presentations. But that's how it works. I think Brian asked that question. It's connected to the MLS.
Thank you for catching that. Thank you for catching that. And if you don't yet use Quickly leads, just number one, the signs that we use in Austin are like probably like $4 each. You can buy them in bulk, right? So it's not super expensive. It's one of those things that you can plug and play with, you know, fairly quickly. And Bob at Brivity is who can set up all of your Quickly stuff if you're a team leader. So I think it's like Bob at Ben Kinney or Bob at Place or Bob at Brivity, whatever his email address is. Just go in the roster and find it, and he can help set you up. It was 32 leads for us in Austin last month. And now you got to actually use them. Like they don't come in, you got to have to put it in front of a listing, but open houses are a great place to also put them for the exact same reason. And to Brandon's point and Jen's point and everybody's point, it is a real person inquiring and you've got their cell phone number. You don't have to like find them, you know, like all over the internet. Right. So, all right, let's switch gears. You get a
Adelina.
Yes, Sarissa.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, sorry. I've got my little boy in the car. The one thing I remember about Quickly, and I do not think we take advantage of this, and this is like a note to myself, like, oh yeah, duh. If I recall, we can actually go into Zillow and change the last sentence or the first sentence of every single description. Don't do this in MLS or it'll flag you. But if you go into Zillow, the back end, put in, you know, for a showing, text 59599, whatever, you know, the code, send to 59559. and then literally be getting leads from Zillow that you're not having to pay for. So this is a note to my team. We need to do this, and this is my reminder. But yeah, so that's just another way we can use it.
Also my reminder, totally forgot about that. Yes, ma'am. Love that. Woo! All right. I did not know it was gonna be such a hot topic. Cool. For real this time, we will switch gears. You've had a lot of time to think. Brivity seller valuation. Brivity seller valuation comes in. What does that initial call sound like? So Brivity seller valuation that has a phone number comes in. What do you say? Seller valuation. Nobody gets seller valuation leads? That's okay. Joseph Madrid, yes, sir. Oh, and then Ali, I see. Whoa, there's a lot of people. Okay, hold up. Okay, Joseph, I'm gonna go to you, then I'm gonna go to Ali. Yes.
It goes, hi, Adelina.
Yes.
Yes, hey, this is Joseph with Keller Williams. I was actually calling because you recently registered on my website and it looks like you were curious about the value of your home. Generally, when my clients are curious about the value of their home, they're either looking to refinance or they're actually curious, they're thinking about selling and moving into a new home. So I'm curious which one of those is the case for you.
I love that intro. Smooth. It sounds like you've actually done it quite a few times, Joseph. Great job. Great job. Guys, this is one of our up and comers in Austin. Joseph, you are such a hard worker. Love to see that. Ali, what do you say?
What he said was perfect. I was gonna address more so like when we get the leads that don't have a phone number.
Oh yeah, tell us.
Yeah, so I'm trying something new. I'm hoping it's gonna work out. It seems like it provides value, but I signed up for those AM cards. And so I've been taking a picture off the internet of the address that they give me, putting it on the front of the AM card, putting my name and my information, and then writing them a personal note. And then I actually give them the neighborhood stats, just like a quick CMA of what's going on in the neighborhood on the top of the card.
I love that. Good for you. Right on. That's a great strategy. Anything else on Brivity seller valuations? Brivity seller valuations. It could be that we might have maybe Bob or Gail jump on here one day and tell us what they do because they're pretty awesome. Elizabeth, anything else?
I was gonna say it's the apology script, right?
What does that sound like if people have never heard of it?
Yeah, so like ring ring.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, is this Adelina?
Yeah, it is. Who's this?
Hey, Adelina, this is Elizabeth Gassos. I'm with the Ben Kinney Real Estate Team. Just wanted to give a quick apology. I saw that you or someone in your household wanted to know the value of 123 Main Street, and I don't know what's going on in my system, but I don't think it gave you a value. So do you have any maybe 10 to 15 minutes on Tuesday where I could pop by, do a quick look at your house, then I will do a personalized valuation from your home for you?
I don't know. I mean, we're just barely thinking about it.
No, totally understand. Honestly, this market's moving so fast that if I come over today, the value might change tomorrow, but it'll give you a good indication of where we are today and what you could possibly do in the future. Where are you wanting to move?
Oh, I love it. I love exactly where you're going with this. Right on, right on. Did everybody hear that? I hope you listened back to this. Elizabeth, great job. Great job. Love that. Okay, great. That seems to be like the area we might need a little bit more help with in the future. Love to see that. Thanks for everybody who was brave enough to speak up. All right, I've got a new one for you guys. Okay, you have a buyer that looked at houses on your website last night, and now you get into the office in the morning. What does that call sound like to them? Are you calling them? They looked at houses on your website last night. You can see that they looked at 123 Main Street. What does that look like? What does that sound like for you? You've got 30 people that looked at houses on your website last night. Are you ignoring them or are you calling them? And if you're calling them, what does that sound like? Helen, what does it sound like when you do that?
I let them know that I saw them last night, but that I didn't want to reach out just in case it was too late for them. first. And so then just LP Mama. My life right now is LP Mama because I'm new, so I don't have any fancy, like there's no je ne sais quoi to I'm just like, I'm I have one thing. I have my one thing. That's like all I do right now. So
I love that. It is a powerful one thing, Helen. Don't you worry about that. I do like your transition to the call that, hey, I saw that you were on last night and you were looking at homes and I didn't want to bother you late last night. I like that. That's a nice transition. Robbie, welcome. Hey, bud.
Hey, buddy. Hey, this is Robbie with the Sands Group here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was calling because I saw that you were looking at some homes last night, and I was tied up with my kids, but I can't believe this. I actually had a cancellation today at 4:00. Would you like to see that house? And if so, then we go into okay. Well, this house unfortunately actually requires that we have a pre-qual letter. Is it okay if I have a lender give you a call right now?
Right on. Well, Robbie, man, I'm so glad you joined us this morning. I can't believe this. I had a cancellation today at 4. Would you like to see it? Unfortunately, this home requires a pre-qual letter to see. Would it be okay if my lender reached out? All right, y'all. Tennessee's got to come save Texas, I think. It sounds like. Okay, anything else on your leads? They're popping up and then you see that they're looking at houses, and at this moment it sounds like you might just be letting them look at houses because it doesn't sound like a lot of people are calling them.
Excuse me, Adelina, can you hear me?
Yes, Spencer.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if this is someone that you haven't really built up any rapport yet, I treat it just like a regular buyer lead, like, hey, this is Spencer over at the Ben Kinney team. Noticed you were looking at a property over in Southwest Austin last night, and I was just curious, like, are you only looking in that area? Are you looking at other areas as well? Right? Just be like assumptive, speed to lead, focus on the delivery. So basically, just the bench there.
Come on, Ben. Perfect.
And if it is somebody you already have rapport with, then it's, then it's a little bit different. Then you don't have to worry about them hanging up on you really quickly. So then it's just, hey, this is Spencer. I noticed you were looking at that house at 123 Main Street. What'd you think of that backyard? Pretty cool, right? And like, just get them talking and then assumptively go for the showing.
Love it. Anybody else? Bart, yes, sir.
Helen talked about having only one thing she does. I'm the same way. My one thing is just what has you looking at homes. I mean, and then great, that's cool. Tell me more about that. And I mean, we are going to go into motivation. We're going to try and spend, up to literally 10 minutes in motivation before we even get to anything else. So Helen, if you got one thing, do it. I mean, I do the same exact thing. It's the same intro to everything.
I love that. And what I want to make sure that our agents are getting confident in these calls, right? And knowing what to say, knowing what other top agents say is so important to that. Maria, I see your hand.
Hello, yes. I wanted to point out too, aside from calling, I feel like, I don't know if this happens for anyone else, but maybe about a quarter of the time they'll answer or less. So I always make sure to call, text, and email and do all 3 methods, and then continue to follow up on the method that they respond on. So with a text, that would sound like, hi, is this Adelina? And they say, yes, who's this? And then you go into either some sort of LP Mama script or reference the property that they were viewing most and say, hey, I noticed, I wanted to follow up on your inquiry for 123 Main Street. When would be the best time to see it? I'll be in the area this afternoon around 2 or tomorrow morning.
I like that.
Memos, like trying to go straight into seeing the home.
Assume the appointment, right? Right on. Like that. Elizabeth.
I was just going to say that with those like late night texts or people that are like, oh, I was just browsing. And whenever you do LP Mama, they truly aren't ready or aren't able. I just really like to be casual about it. They're like, oh, I'm just browsing. It's like, no worries, girl. Like most people are just browsing. That's how we all start looking at houses. That's how you're going to learn what you like. That's how you're going to learn what neighborhoods you want to be in. So please keep browsing. If you want me to adjust your search, I can do that for you. Like you let me know. And if you keep using my website, that only I'm calling you. So feel free to just use it. And do I have permission to keep calling you every couple months just to see how you're doing?
I like that. I like that. Way to go. Misty, anything new?
Well, something that I like to say, like kind of piggybacking on what Elizabeth said, with the people that say they're just browsing, I like to find out if they own their home or if they're renting. And what Valencia was saying about, doing the math. I do that always. I go a little further than just like, $1,700 is $20,000 a year. I like, because most people, if they're not homeowners by the time they're 40, they've been paying rent a long time. So I take it a step further, and I always do, if they'll tell me what they're paying in rent, I do that math. But if they don't, I will do an average like $1,700, and that comes out to $100,000 in 5 years. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much they've been paying in rent, because just paying rent is what they've been doing since they were, moved out of the house or whatever. And when they hear that number, 5 years is 100 grand, that could have been equity in a home. And I kind of go into that part of the buyer's presentation about the benefits of home ownership. And then, a lot of times with a lot of these Brevity leads, they talk about they've got to clean up their credit. And I just try to come to a place to get them to let their guard down. And I say, you know what, most people do have to clean up their credit. I would, as a matter of fact, probably have to pay some of my debt off here and there for me to, if I was looking to buy a home at the moment too. None of us have perfect credit if you're not purposeful about it. And, having a conversation with one of our preferred lenders is a great place to start, even if you're not looking to purchase for 2 years, because they can recommend to you what to actually pay off, because you would be surprised the things that paying those things off over paying other things off is more beneficial to you. So having a conversation with one of our preferred lenders is a great place to get started. And that's how I just want to try to build a rapport and connect them to me. And then I ask permission to give my preferred lender their number.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Misty. Right on. Right on. I love the 100,000. That is a real number. Real number. Daniel, yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What I normally do for both online leads, so IDX or Brevity leads, and with Quickly leads, is I usually lie to them. And I just tell them that I'm either in an elevator or I'm trying to restart my computer or something, that I know the address, but I'm pulling up the information. And then I just ask them more questions. And then usually it's some form of LP Mama. And then I just ask them a bunch of questions as if I'm trying to start something up to see, so I can get as much information out of them as I can. And then I just kind of go whichever direction I feel they're indicating. If they're acting like they're just out looking around, I kind of go that direction. If LP Mama has really gathered some good stuff, I'm probably gonna try to close for a Zoom appointment.
Got it. Right on. Right on. I'll switch gears one more time and then we'll wrap. You have a seller, you guys. Seller. And they opened up a market report. Maybe yesterday, maybe last week. What does your call sound like to a seller who opened up a market report? And I'm asking this because I know we sometimes don't call sellers who open up market reports. So I'm hoping some people do. That will give you inspiration on what that could sound like. Joseph, yes, sir. They open up a market report. What does that call sound like? Oh, you're muted. So sorry. Hold up. There you are.
I'll go with the recent one that I had, and it was basically like, "Hey, Dion, how's it going?" "Good, man. Hey, so I saw that you looked at your market report recently, and I know last time we had spoke, you were curious about what your neighbor's house was going to sell for. What do you think? 550,000? Yeah, I know, man. It's pretty wild, right? And last time we spoke, I do remember you saying that you were considering moving out towards Smithville or something like that. Is that still the case? And then just kind of go from there.
I love that. I love that. Using it as another way to rapport build. Way to go. Way to go. Katie, what do you say when that happens?
I just automatically assume that they heard that the market's in the favor of the sellers and that they're just curious as to maybe what their home is worth. So I say something like, yeah, I saw that you were checking on your market report. If you want, I can do a more detailed one for you or come over and talk to you about it. But right now it's a super hot in our area, DFW, it's super hot for the sellers. Let's talk more about that. But they're obviously curious and they probably heard something or read something. Oh, sellers are getting 30,000 over list price. They know, they hear it.
Right on, right on. Anybody else say anything else to a seller who's opened up your market report? This is a powerful conversation we might be missing out on if we never reach out. Brad, what do you say?
Well, I try and get my foot in the door. I say, this is a great tool, but it doesn't really convey condition of the house and all that. Tell you what, why don't I pull a CMA and get something that's a little more in depth, and let's schedule a time for me to come over, spend about 15 minutes with you. We can walk through the house. You can show me what you've got. And I can give you a really good, honest opinion of the value of your home.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so from the call today, you guys, I took away that perhaps we might be looking for opportunities to get more leads from our listings and our open houses by using our Quickly signs or ordering Quickly signs or getting Quickly set up or calling Quickly leads back. And it looks like on the seller valuation side or seller market report side, we may not potentially be calling as many of those back and using those as rapport builders. And that is a great rapport building tool and a great way to get your foot in the door. Remember, we work so hard. Who here works hard to lead generate, right? And then they're in your database. And then because I see the numbers, the lead gen numbers are super high. And then the lead follow-up numbers, right? And lead follow-up is contacts and Brivity, for example. Those are relatively, at least for my team in Austin, they're relatively much lower, right? And so we let things die on the vine. And then when you call back and then it's they've already bought, they've already sold. And if you really want to get depressed, oh man, just spend an entire day just calling through your database of watches and nurtures and see how many people bought and sold already without you. That'll depress you. People are transacting all the time, right? So Elizabeth, do you have a story on this? Do you remember your story on getting depressed when you're calling your watches and nurtures?
Oh, yeah, you guys already know it.
Remind us.
Yes. So I stopped lead genning for 3 months, and it's not because I didn't want to. I got, as we all get busy, and it was good. I was closing 5 to 6 transactions a month. I get enough referrals, thankfully, to where it truly was just I just had no time to do it. And finally, when I did Bold, I was okay, I'm just going to do my contacts. And I did it consistently for 3 weeks, and I did it more, but for those first 3 weeks was calling them after a 3-month gap. So about 300 people, 30 of them had bought houses.
Oh,
so, and I have a very warm database. I was following up on all of those. Those aren't new leads. Those are people I had already established relationships with, some as long as 3 years of me dripping on them. And that time where I could not call was when they bought. So
yeah, fascinating.
They were tasks that her former self had set.
They were ready to go. I just didn't call them.
Yeah, man, that is hurtful, right? And for those of you who know or don't know Elizabeth, she's been in the business a long time, right? And the benefit of being in the business a long time is referrals, right? If you've been in business 5, 6, 7 years, you guys, like, you're going to have past clients, you're going to have sphere, you're going to have relationships with other agents. Like, your business becomes heavily referral based. Like, that's a normal thing. Ben says all the time, right? At the beginning, right, it's some of our leads and it's some of your leads, right? But as the business grows, it's perfectly normal for it to be a lot of your leads, because if you're doing it right, you have past clients and you have sphere referrals and you have agent referrals. Like, that's the normal evolution of a real estate business. And so Elizabeth has these referrals, closing 5 to 6 deals a month, right? No time to go back through and follow up. It's not even about lead gen anymore. It's about following up in your database. And out of 300 people that she called, 30 of them had already made a move without her. That's 10%. So look at your database today and look at 10% of it. And just imagine that those people, if you don't get in with them, and sometimes, guys, you just don't have 3 hours. Maybe you have 1 hour, maybe you have 30 minutes. There are times that I only have 30 minutes, but I get it done, right? And you've got to be disciplined with your calendar to get it done, because otherwise it doesn't happen. I literally woke up this morning and I canceled one of my appointments that was not important today, so that I had enough time to follow up with some of my recruits, right? Because that's just reality, right? And the same thing is for you, for listings and for buyers. So fortunes in the follow-up. I love this. What a great conversation this morning. I want to tell you, next week we have Charlotte Mabry, and she's a guest speaker for us. She is amazing. I've known Charlotte, gosh, since I've been at Keller Williams. It's been 11 years. She is going to talk about 30 ways to get listings in any market. 30 ways to get listings in any market. Some of them you'll probably be like, yeah, duh, I already do this. And sometimes it might be, well, I actually don't like this one. I would love to have other options. 30 ways to get listings in any market. She's been in the real estate industry, and I don't know exactly, I'm making this up, like 45 years. Like, this girl has seen every freaking market that's happened. And she is amazing. She has a massive business. So can't wait for you guys to hear from Miss Charlotte. And then we'll just keep going and rolling. Thank you guys for this morning. And I will send out the recording actually just right now. And I've got the transcription being transcribed right now on my phone. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you for contributions, everyone. And we want to hear from you again in the future. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.